Welcome. You are one-on-one with Wes the Sports Guy here on YouTube.com and at WesTheSportsGuy.com as well. Lots to get to this week. This is the first of many weekly episodes for the near future, so please subscribe at the bottom and leave your comments, and I'll respond to as many as possible throughout the week. First up, we got Kirk Cousins signing a $84 million fully guaranteed contract with the Minnesota Vikings. He leaves the Washington Redskins and heads over to Minnesota, who were just one game away from attending the Super Bowl this past year, losing out to the Philadelphia Eagles, who eventually did win the Super Bowl, beating the New England Patriots. Why do you think Kirk Cousins is worth this contract if you're the Minnesota Vikings? Well, mainly because he has thrown for over 4,000 yards in each of the past 3 seasons with the Redskins being the full-time starter there. Also, Washington had a little bit of success. They did make one playoff appearance with Kirk Cousins. It wasn't the best showing at all, but his performance in that playoff game was not terrible. He did throw for 329 yards, 1 touchdown. He had no picks, but he was sacked 6 times in that game by the Green Bay Packers, who went on to thump the Redskins in that wildcard game in 2016, excuse me. The Redskins also were not willing to pay Kirk Cousins, unfortunately, but looking at it, it's a win-win because the Redskins did get out and get their eventual replacement for Kirk Cousins and Alex Smith in a trade with the Kansas City Chiefs. Kirk Cousins is now also going to be in a better situation offensively, in my opinion. When it comes to the Vikings, they have a better trio of receivers, in Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, and Kyle Rudolph. The Redskins last year, he had Jordan Reed, who was hurt most of the season, but then he had Vernon Davis, Jamison Crowder, Josh Doxson, Ryan Grant, names that you probably really don't know about. I do, because that's just what I do. I look and see what the talent is around them and judge based off of that. And that's where I come down on Kirk Cousins a little bit, but it's not really his fault. He still threw for over 4,000 yards with those receivers in hand. If you're also wondering, watching this video, why am I holding the mic like this? It's because if I sit the mic like this, I'm going to get so close to the camera, and I don't want to do that. So that's why I am sitting a little bit further back. And yes, by the way, you are killing me, Smalls. Ode to the Sandlot. You got to love that movie. Baseball season's right around the corner too, by the way. Moving on. Kirk Cousins. Yeah, he's going to get paid fully guaranteed money, $84 million. That's never happened in NFL history. Not Peyton Manning, not Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. You could list off so many great quarterbacks. They never got fully guaranteed contracts. Cousins is the first. Is it going to be regrettable? Sure, it might be. But for the time being, the Minnesota Vikings are a talented team. They feel they were just one player away, quite possibly the quarterback. I'm not saying Keenum did a terrible job because he got into the NFC title game, so he cashed in as well. He went to the Denver Broncos. I'm not saying it's a lose-lose for him, but Cousins going to the Vikings certainly helps both sides out. Cousins gets paid. He's on a better team. Minnesota finds what they believe is their quarterback to win right now, and their window is right now. 2-3 years with Kirk Cousins. Absolutely, it's there. Moving on, the NBA standings, gearing up for the NBA playoffs. The Toronto Raptors, Boston Celtics are right at the top of the Eastern Conference. They've already clinched playoff spots. That's pretty much set in stone with the East when it comes 1 through 8. Going down the list, Indiana, Cleveland, Washington, Philly, Milwaukee, and Miami are in the top 8. Detroit is on the outside looking in, 6 games back of the Miami Heat for the 8th spot, but I don't see that happening. Even getting Blake Griffin, sure, it brought a little spark to them, but they're still far behind in the Eastern Conference. It's pretty much set with who's going to be in it. As far as the seeding goes, there's still plenty of time to get that figured out. As for the Western Conference, it's up in the air. It's literally up in the air after the first 2 spots. 3 to 10 is only separated by 5 games. It's just ridiculous. Every single year in the Western Conference, it seems like you've got at least 10, close to 12 teams some years that could be competing for playoff spots all the way down to the wire. You look at the top with Houston, Golden State, Portland, Oklahoma City. In the top 4, Minnesota, New Orleans, Utah, San Antonio is the 8th seed right now. That's how stacked the Western Conference is. Denver and the Clippers on the outside looking in. And the Lakers mathematically are not out of it, but they are pretty much out of it. I don't see them coming close to a playoff spot this year. Next year, we'll see what happens. It's going to be quite an offseason in the NBA. But first, we're going to get to the playoffs later on down the road in the weekly podcast, 101 with Wes the Sports Guy. The NHL standings, the Western Conference is pretty much set. You do have a few teams on the outside looking in that do have chances right now. There's about 10 games left to play for the Anaheim Ducks and Calgary Flames. They are on the outside of a wild card spot and also competing in the Pacific Division, which has been very competitive in the back end behind the Vegas Golden Knights. Yes, I said the Vegas Golden Knights, expansion team, number 1 in the Pacific and number 2 in the Western Conference right now. The Nashville Predators were the first to clinch a playoff spot this week with 104 points, getting ready for the NHL playoffs. In the Eastern Conference, you have the Washington Capitals, Pittsburgh Penguins, Tampa Bay Lightning, Boston Bruins, all atop in the East. Toronto Maple Leafs also have 91 points. They're right behind them. In the wild card, you have Columbus and New Jersey. Florida Panthers are looking on the outside right now with 77 points, but they have 12 games remaining on their schedule, the most of any potential playoff team in the East. So they could be making some noise down the stretch and contend for at least a wild card spot in the East. We'll have many more comments about the NHL playoffs as well going down the line weekly here on youtube.com and at westthesportsguy.com. To finish off this week, I'm going to give you with a feel-good story of the week. Pretty much every week, I mean, we need some good news in this world, so here we go. Coming from a high school in Michigan, I'm probably going to pronounce this town's name wrong, but at least I'll get the high school right. Ypsilanti, Michigan, Arbor Preparatory High School. This is from their assistant principal, Daniel Ray, on Facebook. Quote, "Today, our students participated in a walk-up instead of a walkout. They were each given 17 sticky notes to symbolize the 17 lives lost in Florida and encouraged to leave 14 notes for students and 3 for adults that would brighten their day. As I walked the halls, I was overcome with pride for these kids. Not a single locker was untouched, and they took special care to ensure that everyone from the administration to the tech guy and custodian received some love. Hashtag choose joy, hashtag spread love, and final hashtag the future is bright." It absolutely is, and I thank you, Arbor Preparatory High School, for showing this. Not everybody needs to be at each other's throats for every little thing. We just need to get back to the basics. Let's have some conversations where we're not screaming at each other and just be civil and be human and enjoy life. It's very simple. Thank you for tuning in this week. I'll be back next week. You can check it out and subscribe at the bottom, youtube.com, and also at westthesportsguy.com. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you next week.